Hi, boys and girls. Story time, and this book is called Aunt Lulu by Daniel Pinkwater. And it says here, to good librarians everywhere. Does anybody know a librarian? Does anybody get to go to the library? Well, the people who work there are called librarians. My Aunt Lulu is big and strong. She lives in a house with her pets. She has a cat, she has a fish, she has a bird, she has a mouse. She has 14 dogs. The dogs are all huskies. Aunt Lulu got them when she lived in Alaska. They are sled dogs. When Aunt Lulu lived in Alaska, she worked in a library. She would put a lot of books on a sled. Then she would hook the dogs to the sled. Then she would say, mush. Mush is what you say to sled dogs to make them go. Mush, she would say. Then she would call out the dog's name. Mush, Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie. Then Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie would pull the sled. Aunt Lulu would drive the sled to the diggings. The diggings were where the gold miners lived. When the gold miners saw Aunt Lulu coming, they would stop digging for gold. Look, it's Lulu the librarian, they would shout. Look, it's Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie. Did you bring the books we asked for? The gold miners would ask. Did you bring the stories about cowboys? Did you bring the stories about pirates? Did you bring the stories about sweet little kittens? Did you bring stories about gold miners and wolves and freezing to death? Yes, I brought all the books you wanted, Aunt Lulu would say. Then she would hand the books to the gold miners. She would collect the books the gold miners had finished reading and put them on the sled. Then she would turn the sled around. Mush, Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie, Aunt Lulu would say, and the dogs would pull the sled back to the library. Sometimes Aunt Lulu would get lost in the snow. Sometimes the dogs would lose their way. Then Aunt Lulu and the dogs would have to sleep out on the trail. But she never was late coming to collect books, and she always brought the miners the books they asked for. Aunt Lulu decided it was time to leave Alaska. She missed her home. She missed her family. She missed her friends. She had enough of snow. She had enough of cold. She had enough of miners. Those miners are nice fellows, Aunt Lulu said, but they get boring after a while. She wrote a letter. Get a new librarian, she wrote in the letter. I am going home. Here's the letter. Get a new librarian. Then she said goodbye to her dogs. Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie. I am leaving, Aunt Lulu said. Of course you can't come with me. All the dogs began to cry. Sweetie Pie climbed into Aunt Lulu's lap. He looked at her with sad eyes. He licked her chin. I suppose I could just take you, Aunt Lulu said. Then she looked at all the other dogs. They looked sad. Do you all want to come with me? The dogs all jumped up and down. We will live in New Jersey. Would you like that? The dogs smiled and barked. It doesn't get as cold as Alaska. Will that be all right? The dogs rolled on the ground and waved their feet in the air. I guess you want to come with me, Aunt Lulu said. Okay, it's settled. We will all go and live in New Jersey. There was a noise outside Aunt Lulu's house. It sounded like shouting, like shooting, also like a moose making moose noises. What could that be? Aunt Lulu said. She looked out the window. It is the miners, she said. They have come all the way from the diggings. The miners knocked on Aunt Lulu's door. May we come in, they asked. Certainly, Aunt Lulu said. This is a nice surprise. The miners came into Aunt Lulu's house. Their names were Nick, Slade, Blackie, Jake, Baldy, Bart, and Spanish Ralph. We heard you were going away, Bart said. So we came to say goodbye, Nick said. We shouted and shot off our guns like miners do, said Baldy. To show you that we like you, said Slade. Thank you, Aunt Lulu said. I also heard moose noises. That is your present, Jake said. My present? You bought me a moose? No, we bought you a moose call, said Spanish Ralph. You blow it and a moose will answer, if there are any moose around. Of course, if you would like to have a moose to take home with you, we could get you one, said Blackie. No, thank you, said Aunt Lulu. A moose call will be very nice. When I am home in New Jersey, I will blow it and remember you all. The miners blushed and shuffled their feet and took their hats off. We like the books you brought us, the miner said. Another librarian will bring you books, Aunt Lulu said. Would you like to have a cup of coffee and some wolverine stew? Yes, please, the miner said. Aunt Lulu brought the miners cups of coffee and bowls of wolverine stew. Where will you live in New Jersey? Spanish Ralph asked. Parsippany, Aunt Lulu said. That's a beautiful place, Baldy said. Are you taking the dogs with you? Jake asked. Yes, said Aunt Lulu. That's good, Blackie said. Yes, said Aunt Lulu. The dogs will like living in Parsippany, Slate said. I hope so, Aunt Lulu said. After the miners finished their cups of coffee and bowls of wolverine stew, they all said goodbye to Aunt Lulu and went away. Nice men, Aunt Lulu said to herself, but boring. When Aunt Lulu came back to New Jersey, the first thing she did was come and see us. It was winter. There was plenty of snow. She came to see us in a sled. She wore a parka lined with fur. Pulling the sled were Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie. Aunt Lulu showed me the moose call the miners had given her. You may keep this, she said, but don't blow it outdoors, or a moose will come. We don't have any moose in Parsippany, New Jersey, my mother said. You might have some, Aunt Lulu said. You don't want them around the house. Are you going to go around in that dog sled, my mother asked. I don't see why not, Aunt Lulu said. What will you do in the summer, my mother said. When summer comes, we'll have to see, Aunt Lulu said. Don't you think a car would be better, my mother asked. Not while I have this perfectly good dog team, Aunt Lulu said. Summer came. Aunt Lulu came to see us. She had put wheels on her dog sled. She was not wearing her fur-lined parka. She had a dress on. She had sunglasses with pink frames. Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie all had sunglasses with pink frames too. We like this warm weather, Aunt Lulu said. Aunt Lulu still lives in Parsippany, New Jersey. In winter, she drives the dog sled all over town. In summer, she drives this dog sled with wheels on it. Winter and summer, she wears her sunglasses with pink frames. And Melvin, Louise, Phoebe, Willie, Norman, Hortense, Bruce, Susie, Charles, Teddy, Nettie, Eddie, Freddie, and Sweetie Pie wear their sunglasses with pink frames too. The end. I hope you like that book. And I'll see you later. Have a good day.